On today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Azdome PG17 Pro. What's up everyone, and how's it going? For those who are new to the channel, my name is Dan. Behind me is my 2019 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, aka the Harlequin, and this is the Evolved Jeeping YouTube channel, where typically I create content where I install, test, and review aftermarket parts for the Jeep platform. Today's video is actually a continuation of our Rearview mirror dashcam mini-series. In this mini-series, what we basically have been doing is testing and reviewing these systems to find the best, or at least the most suitable system to run on a Jeep Wrangler. But because these systems are not designed specifically for the Jeep Wrangler, and they are designed as a universal product, technically what we have been doing is testing out these systems to find the best system that will work with any vehicle you may own. Yeah. Currently, we've actually tested a total of 7 different systems, which have actually been from a variety of different brands, covered a few different price points, as well as some different shapes and some different styles. One of the unique things that we've also been covering through this mini-series is some different resolutions. We have taken a look at some 4Ks, some 2.5Ks, and even some 1080Ps. Out of all of the systems we have tested out, I can truly say today that we have not yet found a perfect solution or a perfect system, which is exactly why we are still making these videos, because I'm trying to find the system that is going to be the one I highly recommend. Out of all the systems we have tested out, the one system that I'm currently running in my Jeep is the Pilsky P12 Plus. This is the system that I feel is the best out of all the systems we have tested out, but I do have to say it is not perfect. This system has one major flaw, and it's actually a flaw that we noticed on all of the systems we've tested out, and it has to do with the rear-facing camera. What we have noticed is when you're using these systems at night in a dark environment with a vehicle directly behind you, the rear-facing camera seems to get a little bit of headlight glare that shows up on the screen, which makes the screen all white and very unusable. I don't know why this is an issue that is occurring on all these systems, but you know, it's there. Maybe it's a limitation to the technology. Maybe technology is not advanced enough to handle it. Or what I was also thinking is possibly all of the systems I've tested out have not yet been the top tier products from the brands, and because of that, they don't have the technology to handle the headlights. Luckily for me, today, Azdome just sent me their PG17 Pro, which is actually their top tier product. So today we're going to be able to confirm if having the top tier product is actually going to solve this issue. I'm super excited to test this out because we have tested out a few Azdome products in the past. We tested out their PG19X, which is a rectangular screen, and then we also tested out their PG17 4K, which is actually a tier down from this one. But today we get the chance to try the best of the best, and we get to see if it's actually going to solve the issue. I hope that it is, because from what I've read online, this system actually has one of the most advanced camera technology built into it, which is the Sony Starvis 2.0. From what I've read online, that is the system that all of these systems need to be running to handle the headlights. So super excited to see that. While we make this video, we're also going to be confirming if this system is actually worth its high price point. This system goes for $399. That is the listed price. Typically, if you go on Amazon, you'll probably find this on sale, so you don't always have to pay the listed price, but the listed price for this item is $399, which is pretty crazy. So we're gonna find out if it is actually worth purchasing this for that extreme price. This system does have a lot of features built into it. So it has the integrated 4K front-facing camera. Its rear camera is actually a 2.5K resolution. It has built-in Wi-Fi connectivity. It has voice command capabilities. It also has loop recording, time-lapse recording. Yeah, a lot of features built into it, and it's super excited to see if it's actually going to be any good. What we're gonna do in today's video, like we've done on all the videos, is we're actually gonna go ahead and unbox this to show you guys what it comes with. Once we've done that, we're then gonna go ahead and install it. For the installation, we're actually gonna show you two options for installation. First is gonna be the non-permanent option, where you're simply attaching this to your factory mirror. And then the second option is where we're actually gonna utilize this backplate right here, which I found out is actually going to attach to the Azdome mirror, and it's gonna give you the ability to fully replace the stock mirror with the new screen. After we've done the installation, we're then gonna go ahead and take a look at its features and functionality and show you guys what's built into this. After we've done that, like we've done on every video, we're gonna wrap this video up by giving you guys our overall thoughts and opinions about this system while comparing it to some of the other systems we've used. Guys, I'm super excited to try this out. So now that you know what we're going to do in this video, let's simply go ahead and flip this camera around and unbox this. So before we unbox this, let's just take a look at this packaging. I have to say, this is impressive packaging and definitely looks high-end. They use a minimalistic design, which is all white with blue accents for like logos and graphics. And then they have a full color printed image on the front, which is actually done in a gloss finish. So you actually get it to pop off the matte white finish, which really looks nice. It's just a simple way at making something look high-end. I really like it. I think if you are going to, or you're thinking about carrying them in retail, this packaging is definitely something impressive that can stand alone on a shelf, especially if you're carrying a bunch of their products, because if you have the different ranges side by side, it's gonna look really cool. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna open this up. So the box is a clamshell box, so it has a top and a bottom. So you're just simply gonna slide them apart. Once we get that, let's set this aside. Then you've got the traditional display option or the packaging option. Basically what they do is they attach this to a cardboard piece on the inside, and then they run this foam ring around it to protect it from getting damaged. So what we're gonna do is just remove the ring. Now that we've got the ring removed, we can actually grab the mirror. I'm gonna pull that out. As you can see, this is connected to a cardboard piece. You're gonna turn this around. Then all you're gonna have to do is press the tabs right here and push through the cardboard to release it. You do that on both sides. And then the cardboard is removed. Now that we've got the cardboard removed, let's take a look at the mirror. So the mirror does have a screen protector on it. So you just pull that back. And you can see the surface itself does have a little blue tinge, which I'm not surprised because a lot of Azdome products do have that. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It definitely is something to consider, but definitely not a bad thing. On the screen protector, you know, they list the brand, some your car companion, some other information here. Yeah, just some generic stuff there, nothing too crazy. On the bottom of it, we have our power button, and then we have two vent ports right here, which I believe are for microphones. So we have those two there. On the top of it, this is where we have all our connections for plugs, and it looks like they're actually inset, which is really nice. This was something I liked in their PG19, how the cords actually sit a little bit down in. The first port we have is our USB-C power port. Then we have our AV port, which is for the rear camera. We then have our TF port, which is for the micro SD card. We finish it off with our GPS port, which is for the GPS antenna. If we spin this around to the back, let's take a look at what we've got here. So starting from this side, we've got our speaker port. So that is where the system can portray noises and sounds out there. We have a sticker here with the model information and a barcode. I like how it's black because on some of the other brands it's been white, and that kind of just stands out, so I like it in black. We've then got our two mounting points here. So we've got our tabs on top and bottom, and then we've got this rubber pad here. So if you are mounting it to the mirror is gonna be safe because of the rubber pads. So we've got this part here, this one here. In the middle, we've got a bunch of ventilation that is probably used to vent the chips that are inside. We've got a reset button there, and then we've got two microphone ports which are connected to those at the bottom. On this far side, we then have our camera, which is adjustable, so you have the angle to remove that, and then you do have a little black lens cover that we're going to remove when we go to install. Overall, the quality of this is really nice. There's some screw points here that gives you the ability to take it apart if you needed to. These two pads, I'm assuming, are going to be removable. We're probably going to be able to pull that back and access the screws, and then that would pop off. We'll show you that in the installation. Yeah, overall, really impressive screen. I think craftsmanship's great, and I can't wait to see what it looks like on the vehicle. So now we get into all the accessories that come with it. So the first accessory we have is a bag full of wire connection locations. So these are designed so you can tap into thing, and also a pry tool. Then we've got our rear camera here. So when we open this up, we've got a traditional Azdome camera that we've seen before. So, you know, tapered little lens, Azdome logo on it, a nice bracket. We've got some extra adhesive pads if you're going to stick it. We've got probably, I want to say 3 or 6 feet of wire that is used. And then of course it's got the red wire on it that is used to tap into your reverse lines if you want to use the reverse feature that's built into the screen. So that's one piece we've got there. We've then got our rubber bands. We got 2 sizes of these, so a large and a small one, designed to secure it to the piece. We've then got our GPS antenna cord here, which is easy plug-in as well. We've then got our power source. So the generic power source for this is a 12-volt DC plug adapter that is designed to attach with the USB-C. This one does not have a USB port, so I wish it would have. Luckily for us, we're not going to be using this. I will show you guys how to use this, but we will not, because we actually have the hardwiring kit already built into our Jeep, and all we have to do is simply plug that into this. Then we have an Azdome high-speed 125 gig micro SD card. So that's great. It's great that they provided that, and the fact that it's a 128 gig is pretty impressive. Then we've got our micro SD card towel, which is used to clean the lens. We've also got our user manual, so that's got all the instructions on how to use it, which is very useful if you've never used one of these systems before. We've got our wet and dry wipes. For this is actually going to be used to attach this, which is your anti-glare screen protector, or is it just a, yes, it's the anti-glare screen protector. So that is something we are also going to attach. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your wet and dry wipes, you're going to wipe the screen off. Well, first you're going to pull off the screen protector, wipe it with the wet and dry ones, and then apply the screen protector. This is tricky. I have definitely struggled many times with this, so hopefully you can do it. I definitely wish you the best of luck. So as you can see, guys, this is the complete kit of everything that's here. What we're going to do now is go ahead and jump over to the installation to show you the first method of installation, which is the non-permanent option.
Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire burn, a thirst and
So guys, now what we're going to do is take a look at the features and functionality that the screen has to offer. So when you plug it in, it is going to come up with that Azdome logo. That is your loading screen, and then it's going to load. One thing I have to say about this device is it loaded super quick. It is a lot quicker than any of the other devices that I've tested out. It pretty much pulled up the image super fast. Once it is loaded, it is going to go to the last image that was displayed. So here we have the split screen, and what you see is the front view on the left and the rear view on the right. Really nice view. It's a common view that you see in a lot of these systems. At the top, you have your flashing red button, which indicates that there is some recordings going on. You got the time that counts down. Then you've got some information here, which I think is about the cameras. So you got 4K, 30 FPS, and 2.5K, 30 FPS RD or HDR. Those are definitely the cameras, so it's indicating what the front camera is running and what the back one is running. Over here, we've got our GPS display, which indicates probably miles per hour. We're not moving, so obviously it's 0. And then you've got an arrow and some lines. Over here, probably hard to see, but it is the time and date. I'll show you that on another screen. So on this screen, not much to do. Let's try swiping left to right to change the screen. So when you swipe, I guess, from the left to the right, it takes you to the front view. And here you can see the time and date now a little bit clearer. If you put your hand on this side and scroll up and down, it actually changes the angle of the camera because it is a wide lens camera. So that's a really cool feature. That's like all the other systems we have, so you can position where you want. One thing that's cool, if you go on this side and do the same thing, it actually changes the brightness level of the screen. So that's really nice. So it means it has a split screen sensitivity similar to what the Pilski had. So if we go to the next screen, we get our back view. Same type of feature. You can drag and drop so we can see the bottom of the tire. I wonder if I swipe back, does it take me back to that image? And it does. So if you swipe back the other way, it takes you to the previous image. That's really, really cool. So let's keep swiping. We swipe one more time and we get another split view. But this time it's different. The front view is actually on the right and the rear view is on the left. So there's actually 2 options for swipe. That's really cool. So that's a cool feature. So now let's take a look at the menu of this. So if we click, pulls up this little navigation bar. At the top, we have Wi-Fi signal, which is no. It looks like we then have GPS signal and our microphone signal, which are all active. Down here, we have a square, which is the stop button for the recording. So if we click that, the recording stops. If we click it again, it starts again. Next, we have a camera button. That is probably the image capture button. So you're just going to press it. It's going to think. For some reason, this is taking a long time, but the goal here is it is going to take a photo of both the front and the rear at the exact same time. So we're just waiting for the noise. It's definitely a little slow for some reason. I'm surprised that this is that slow, especially because it loaded that quick. Maybe because the images are 4K and 2.5K, it takes a little longer to translate the signal. Okay, that was a little long for that, but it did eventually do it. So that will now be in our images. Here we have this hazard sign. If you click this, what it does is it's actually the lock video. So it's going to lock this video as if you were in an accident or something. When it's flashing yellow, it means that you have a lock video being recorded. So everything locked here can't be deleted, meaning can't be overridden by loop recording, but it can be manually deleted if you choose. The next option we have is our video display option. So it's going to take you to this screen here. On this screen, we have our front standard video, our front locked video, our front photos, our front rear videos, our rear standard videos, our rear lock videos, and things. So lots of cool images. If we click on this, we then get our recordings. You can see it's recording me right now talking. So all of our recordings. From here, you can actually hit the delete button and select multiple items, and then hit delete. So you can actually do a lot of stuff from here. Go back. We can then see our photos. You can see the photos we've taken. Nothing crazy here. A lot more on the rear photos. There's a little bit more. You can see the rear photos is definitely having some issues for some reason. I'm not sure why we're getting black images instead of videos. So let's look at the standard videos here. So the videos are working, but the photos are not working. So that must be something strange there. I'm not sure exactly why that is happening. It's something we're going to have to look into. So if we come back to the here and then we hit back again, it's going to take us back to the main cameras. On this screen, we have our settings button. Let's click on that. In here, we have a lot of different options. So resolution. In here, we can see what we want for resolution. So we want to keep it on the 4K and the 2K for sure, but you do have the option to run 2.5K for both, or you can run 1080p on the front and 2K in the rear. Loop recording, we want to see what that is. So they're doing 1 minute. I like to switch it to 3 all the time, so let's do that. Video encoding. So this is interesting. I don't know exactly what this means, but you have two options here. You can choose from a 264 or 265. Let's just leave that as is. Audio here, you have the option for your audio to either be recording or not. That is kind of up to you. Let's see what happens when we turn that off. Maybe that's just going to record the audio. Let's leave it on, whatever. G sensitivity. So this is the sensitivity. So driving a Jeep, I am going to make the decision so that it's not always doing it and put it to low. So that means if I was in an accident, it would react based on the G-force added. So with a Jeep, bumpy ride, so I'd rather go low on that. So let's do that. Park lapse recording. So because we have it hardwired, we can actually do this park recording. So this is the collision boot recording. So we'll keep that. We're going to put that on. So if somebody hits our vehicle while it's not moving, we're going to put that to medium. Oh, I guess that's all of it. So, oh, maybe that's just both. So let's just set that to medium. Then in here we have frequency. Let's click on the frequency. 60 hertz or 50 hertz. We're going to leave that to 60 hertz. That's what it's designed for. Screensaver mode. Screensaver mode, if you want this, it will turn off the screen or it'll have a timer. Let's just leave that off. We don't want the screen to do anything. Touch tone is annoying beep. We're definitely turning that off. So let's turn that off. Oh, that's so much better. Volume, you have the option to turn up and down your volume. I wonder where that setting is on this screen. We'll have to look for that. Maybe it's up at the top. Sometimes it's at the top, or maybe it's just in here. But that is something to wonder. Screen brightness, again, you can manually do this here, or you can restore to default. Display modes, this is where you can have all of your display modes. So it depends what you really want. If you want it to just show the rear camera on default, this is basically what you want. So I want it on rear camera, so when I fire this up, it always goes to the rear camera. Then we're going to do rear camera display option. This is whether you need to flip it, so you can either choose to mirror it vertically or mirror it horizontally. If we go back to our screen and see what this, so these people right now are on the correct side. So they're coming from my left to my right. So everything looks fine on this. I really like that they have those settings though, because it gives you the ability to customize what you need. So say you mount your camera upside down, you could easily go to the rear camera and flip it in here without having to manually go flip it. So really nice to have that. Background, you can choose what colors you want. Let's just leave it a gray, but if you wanted blue, pink, or green, you could easily do that. Time display, so that's a display in the corner. Honestly, I'm going to turn that off. I don't like that. So that's gone. Date format, 12-hour clock if we were to do it. Yeah, let's keep the clock. Format, time format, year date. So I'd rather day, month, year. So let's put it in that format. Reverse modes. This is if you're using the reverse modes. You can either have the full screen or full frame. or you can have either both. We're not using that, so that's not going to be a factor. Fatigue reminder. This is interesting. So every 2 hours of driving, the device will play a tone to remind you to rest. Interesting. Not going to be turning that on, but we'll keep that. So voice controls, this is where we have our voice control. So you can turn it on and off. And here is all the commands you can do. So one of them is turn on Wi-Fi. One is take picture. We have open recording, open screen, show front camera, turn off Wi-Fi, lock the video, turn on recording, turn off display, and show rear camera. So really cool. Let's jump back and try a little bit of those. Show front camera. Turn off display. Turn on display. Turn on display. So that's interesting. When it doesn't want to kick the display on for some reason, you have to manually do it. That's interesting. As some reason the Wi-Fi is showing. Turn off Wi-Fi. Take photo. Turn on recording. Turn off recording. Turn on recording. Record. Turn on recording. So I don't know if some of them I maybe don't get. Take photo. Take a photo. Yeah, some of them are a little funky, but it's cool. They still have them. It gives you the ability to do that voice, which is nice instead of having to press it. Wi-Fi. So this is where we have our Wi-Fi. We can choose whether we want it 5G or, so it turns it on. I'm going to turn off that. Turn off Wi-Fi. Yeah, we still don't want that. I will show you that in a bit, but right now we're not going to. Then we have speed units. You can choose whether you want it kilometers, miles per hour. Time zone settings, you can choose your time zone. Right now we're just going to leave it as is. GPS information, you can see all the GPS information that's going on through the GPS unit. GPS display, we can decide this is that little display on the side. We are going to turn that off. I don't like that display. I don't need to see my speed. Watermark, we're definitely going to turn off the watermark, so it's not going to show up on our videos, which is their logo. Language, English obviously, but you do have a bunch of different options to choose from. Format reminder, so this is just something that every day it's going to, every 30 days it'll ask you to reformat the card. Factory reset, and then about information where it gives you all that. One thing I did want to show is on the backgrounds, I believe there's actually more. Nope, there's only those colors. So yeah, overall lots of good settings. I like the simple layout. They didn't overcomplicate it. It's just simple as can be. The last button on the screen is your microphone mute. So microphone mute button. So you can easily turn on the microphone and off. So yeah, the next thing we're going to take a look at now is the app. So let's take a look at what you can do on the app. So first, we're going to go here. We're going to go to settings. We're going to go to Wi-Fi. We're going to hit 5G. So once you have your device connected to the mirror, you're going to go ahead and open up the Azdome app. When you have the app open, you're going to connect to the Azdome PG17 Pro. Once connected, it's going to load this screen right here, which is going to give you a live view of the rear camera. First button we can click on is the settings button, which is in the top right of the screen. In this section, you're going to see all the settings that are listed on the mirror. So it gives you the ability to customize it through the app or through the mirror, depending on which option you are using. Then when we go back, the next button we're going to press is the Dashcam album. When you load this, which does take some time, it's going to load to the timeline view. The timeline view is pretty cool because what it does is lines up all of the videos you captured in that day in order of when they've been captured. And here you can view them and watch them. You can also go ahead and
download them directly to your device. Here we did that, but the image we did was fairly long. So what I actually decided to do, instead of waiting for the download to continue, I actually went ahead and just simply canceled it. You also have the option to select the list view, which is actually going to simply list out all the videos that you've captured. From here, you can click on them, watch the videos, and what's really cool in this view is it gives you a GPS location of where the video was taken. On the screen, you can also delete them if you wanted to. The next section you can click on is the event section. These are the locked recordings or whatever recordings occurs when you have an impact or a vibration in the G sensor. Here you can actually see a recording we did at night. And what's really cool is on the GPS, you can actually see how we were moving in the video. Then the last section is the photo album, and you can see all the photos we've taken. Clicking here, you can see here, and here you can either download or delete them. Then when we return back to the live view, we actually have the option to choose whether we want to record or not by clicking the recording button. We can also click the snapshot button to capture a photo that gets saved to the micro SD card. Then we have the fold button, which actually just minimizes the navigation bar at the bottom. We then have the photo album view, which gives you all the photos you've captured, or basically this is the section that captured anything you actually activate in the system. Then we have the audio recording button, which gives you the ability to turn on and off the audio option. After that, the last button on here is actually the switch camera button, which when you press that, it's actually going to switch to the front view, and then you can press it again and go to the back view. Overall, this is a simple app. It's not overcomplicated, and it gives you the ability to download your captured content directly to your phone without removing the micro SD card.
So guys, it is actually a couple days after the last part of this video, and the reason is because after I filmed the part where I showed you the features and functionality of this system and its app, I actually took a few days to test this system out a little bit further so that I get a good understanding of how the system performs before I gave you guys my overall thoughts and opinions. Also, while I was doing that, I also went ahead and captured some content to show you guys the image quality of both the screen and the recording. But before I go ahead and show you guys that video, I actually want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the installation. When I was showing you the installation, I really only showed you guys how to mount the screen. I showed you the two options. First was the option where you mount it to your factory mirror, and then the second option where you replace the factory mirror altogether. What I didn't show you guys was how to run the wires, and the reason is because this is my 8th system installed on the Jeep, and I didn't need to run the wires because all I did was simply use the same wires, and all I had to do was simply switch out the rear camera. But because I do know there are a bunch of you out there that are looking for information on how to install this in a Jeep Wrangler, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an overview of what you need to do. So to install the rear camera, what you need to do is simply plug the camera wire into the front here. Then you're going to go ahead and pop the upper inner panel down. You're going to run the wire along that inner panel. Then you're going to run the wire along your roll bars all the way to the back of the Jeep. And then at the back of the Jeep, you're then going to decide where you're going to mount the camera. For myself, I mounted the camera on the inside of my hardtop behind the rear window. This isn't the only location to do. The first time I ever installed these, I actually went ahead and mounted my rear camera on my spare tire. At first, I thought this was a great idea, but after using it, what I realized is having that camera at the back there means it's exposed to the elements, meaning water, droplets, and dirt, and over time, that gets on the lens, and then I had to worry about cleaning it manually. Where I decided to mount it on the inside of the mirror, or inside of the rear window, because that would actually give me the ability to simply use my rear windshield wiper to clean it off so that I have full visibility. Again, personal preference, it's really up to you. You can either run the wire through your tailgate out to your spare tire, or you can mount it on the inside of your hardtop. Obviously, if you don't have a hardtop, you're probably gonna have to mount it on the spare tire. So that was for the camera. It's very simple to do. You just simply mount it up. You choose all the wires, hide all the wires. Very simple. For running the trim panels, all you have to do is undo the bolts. This panel comes down and you work your way around. For the power, so this system comes with the provided 12-volt DC plug adapter. This is a plug that plugs into what I'm going to call your cigarette lighter right here. So you can plug into there. The one thing to note about that is that on a Jeep Wrangler, the cigarette lighter or that 12-volt DC plug adapter is not always powered. So when you turn off your vehicle, that plug turns off. This means that if you want to use the parking monitoring, you won't be able to because there won't be power. So there is an option, but if you are going to use that, installations, again, very simple. You're going to follow the same path as the camera, plug it in, go across this panel. But once you get to here, you're actually going to go in behind the A-pillar panel, then in behind the dash. You're going to bring it out underneath the footwells and then in to plug it here. Not that hard. Just take some time running the wires. To undo the A-pillar channels, really simple. Pop these off, undo the 10mm bolts, and then that whole panel comes off. That is one option. While you're doing that, you also want to run the GPS antenna. So I actually installed my GPS antenna right here on the dash. So to run that, you just run the wires up through the A-pillar across here and plug it in. If you want parking monitoring, what you need to do is you need to go ahead and purchase a hard wiring kit. It's an extra part you're going to have to buy, and I'll put a link below. What this does is it gives you the ability to run the power for the system directly into your fuse box. That is what I'm currently running. I love it because it does give you that ability to record what's happening around your vehicle. Installation, that is not much different. All you're going to do is run the wire across here, down the A-pillar. But once you get to here, instead of coming to the center of the dash, you're actually going to go in behind the dash, through the firewall, and then tap into the fuse box. That is a simple process. All you have to do is follow the directions and find a fuse that will work. Yeah, overall, not that hard to do this installation. If you want to see the details on how to remove some of the panels and run the wires, I actually did do that in one of the first videos where I installed the Wolfbox G840S. And what I'll do is put the link right here and you can click on that and follow those steps. But again, I didn't show it here because my wires are already run. So now that we've covered the installation and we've gone over features and functionality, we can now go in to take a look at the image quality of the screen and the recording. Overall, I have to say the image quality during the day is actually very impressive. The front-facing camera is definitely a 4K resolution. I have to say it was super crisp. It was almost unreal. It was like I was watching 4K on a television. It was crazy. Really loved that. And then when you flip to the rear view, I have to say the rear camera is definitely a 2.5K resolution camera. It's obviously not as good as the front-facing camera, but it is a lot better than some of the 1080p systems we've tested before. You can actually read license plate. You can see everything really clear. I was super impressed by it. Obviously, I would still love a 4K resolution, but the 2K is a lot better than the 1080ps. Then when you go ahead and switch to the nighttime, the 4K resolution camera was actually really good. Only thing I did notice is my headlights seem to be a little bit greenish in the screen. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe that's the tint that's on the screen that was causing that. Kind of strange, but it was definitely something I could live with. What I really loved about this system was when you went to the rear view at night, you had no headlight glaring. You could actually see the vehicles. You could see the outlines. Unlike the other systems, you know, the poor systems and the upgraded systems, you could see everything. With the other systems and the 1080ps, there was so much headlight flaring that it was so unusable. But with this system, I can actually say it is something I would recommend anybody to buy because you can actually see the vehicles behind you at night. Super impressed by it. Oh, I do want to mention, even driving around in the city light, it was super crisp, a lot better than some of the other systems I've tried. Yeah. Image quality, no complaints, recording good, really nice, super impressed. Now that you guys seen how this system performs, it's time for me to give you guys my overall thoughts and opinions, and I have a feeling you're probably gonna know where I'm going with this. this system is one of the best I've tried. It is definitely worth the high price point, which was $399. It's definitely worth it. The image quality of the front and the rear are way up there. Obviously, again, as I've said, I would love a 4K resolution, but for some reason that's not possible yet. So the 2.5K resolution rear cameras is exactly what I would recommend. If you're considering any systems out there, you need to get one with a 2.5K resolution rear camera. Front 4K, that's pretty standard now, but the 2.5K rear is what you need to invest in. Again, I'm not sure if it's because of the 2.5K or if it's because of the Sony Starvis 2. Chips that are used for this camera. That might be the reason, and if that is the case, then I recommend those cameras. Yeah, camera resolution, top notch. System, pretty basic, but does exactly what I need. There's a few things I would love changed. One was when I was capturing that image, it took a little long for the wheel to stop spinning, and maybe that's because of the 2.5K resolution, the signal has to come up, but that was one weird thing. The other little weird thing that I would say, which is the only thing that I don't like, is this right here. So you can see here, it has the 4K, the description of the resolution. I would love if you could turn that off and just have the recording. Again, little thing, doesn't change anything. It's not that noticeable when you're using it. I love the voice command, the fact that you can say, show front camera, show rear camera. Those are really amazing. You do notice the ding, that only happens with the voice, and I think it's like a notification thing. Even though, you know, with the touch, I've turned that off, so there's no noise, but if I voice command, that beep does come up. Kind of annoying, would love that not to be gone, but again, these are all just little things that they could simply improve over time. The screen itself, I love it. I love the bracket. So let's show the bracket while we're doing this. So I love the bracket. It's a nice fit. I know a lot of people are looking for the Azdome or brackets to fit the Azdome. I think I found one, so I'll put that link below. I love the quality. I love the fact that you can adjust this. I like the speaker. When you look at the front with the drop down plugs, I really like that because it looks a little cleaner. I actually would rather it drop down even further. But I do want to mention one thing that's kind of difficult is getting the micro SD card out. It's actually kind of difficult, but what's nice is because you have the mobile app, there's actually no real reason to remove that micro SD card. You could actually just simply download the information to your phone instead of having to remove it. The only reason I like to remove it is mainly for this video, because I'm going to remove it, take it to my computer to edit it up. So I don't see anyone really needing to remove it on their own time. They'll probably just download the stuff to their app. Yeah, no complaints about this. I finally found a system I can recommend to people. A lot of the other systems I said, oh, it's the one I'm using, but this is one I would recommend. If you have any questions or comments about this system, feel free to comment below and I'll do the best to answer them. I do want to thank Azdome for sending me this system and giving me the opportunity to try this out and create this video for you guys. This system is also going to be the new system that's going to be in my Jeep. So I'm now officially running an Azdome PG17 Pro in my thing. I loved the Pilsky one. That one was one I did love. If they come out with the 4K resolution, I might be switching to that. That's something that might be coming down. But for now, the Azdome is the one staying in my Jeep. So got nothing else to say, so I'm going to wrap this video up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you now have a good understanding of what the system has to offer. If you are interested in purchasing this system or any of the parts I've shown in this video, what I will do, like I've done in all of my videos, is I'll post the links below in the description so that all you have to do is click the link and then you can pick up what you need. Again, guys, this system was highly impressive. It definitely exceeded my expectations. I know it's a high price point, but if you want a system that will perform in both the day and the night, this is definitely worth the investment. As usual, guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Keep evolving, and we'll see you guys on the next video.